5 possible non-skill related reasons why you may be getting rejection emails. The reason why I'm making this video is very simple. Usually when we get rejection emails, we see it as a reflection of how good we are, how skillful we are. We feel like, oh, I'm not good enough. We become too hard on ourselves. I don't know enough technologies. I don't know this. I don't know that. All my learning is yielding to nothing. No company is willing to employ me and blah, 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 blah. This may not be the case for everybody, but at least while growing in my career, there were points where I also felt like I wasn't good enough. Now, when you get rejection emails, it could actually be that you are not good enough. That could be a reason, but it's not always the reason. There may be other factors beyond your control that makes the company not want to accept you. And in this video, I'll be sharing 5 of those factors. I also want to say this, that I am not a recruiter myself. It's not like I've worked with a recruiter and I know this information. These are things I'm sharing from my personal experience and also from stories that I've seen people share on social media. So what are those 5 possible non-skill related reasons why you may be getting rejection emails? Hi and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Dillion, and on my space here I share my career experiences just like I'll be doing today, and I also share experiences in my life. So if these are the kind of videos you'd love to see and you haven't subscribed yet, then please hit the subscribe button. Also, I have a separate channel where I explain different topics in programming, JavaScript, web, and all of that. The name of the channel is Decode, so if you're interested in that instead, you can subscribe to that channel. Number 1 reason could be that you do not have the required number of years of experience. It's possible for you to have 2 years experience and have more knowledge than somebody that has 4 years experience or who has been in the tech space for 4 years. That's a possibility. But sometimes when you apply to jobs, they already have a required number of years. Like for this role, this is going to be 4 years. And if maybe on your resume, the first full-time job you had was in 2020 and then you're applying for this job in 2022, automatically that is 2 years of experience. So it's possible that the recruiter may not even go through the projects that you have built to really evaluate your experience, but just by that number of years of experience factor, they are able to just eliminate you and then you get a rejection email. It's not like you are not good enough. Like I said, you may know so much in just those 2 years of experience, but because that is not the number that they are looking for, and probably that is a metric for determining who they are going to take into the interviews and maybe employ at the end of the day, and that's why you do not make it past the application. This is something I've personally experienced. I got a rejection email and they were like, you do not have the number of years of experience that are required. Second reason could be that your location isn't what they are looking forward to or what they can sponsor. And some companies would say remote everywhere, but sometimes there may be a preference on what countries or locations that they can accept. This could be for various reasons, but one of the reasons could be sponsorship. I once saw a job opening that I applied, and from the job description it mentioned that it could sponsor people in Europe countries, something like that. I'm in Netherlands. Then I applied to this job and then I got a rejection, and I was like, hey, why was I rejected? And their reason was that they couldn't sponsor my stay in the Netherlands. And I was like, but I thought you could sponsor people in Europe. So sometimes companies specify remote everywhere, or they specify sponsorship in some certain places, but then there are other countries that do not apply to that thing, and that's why you may be getting a rejection email. You can see again, it wasn't a thing of I wasn't good enough. It was just they couldn't sponsor my location. It could be the same thing for you. It may just be not like you're not good enough, but maybe they are not willing to hire remote engineers from a particular country or from a particular city. The third reason could be that your job application came in when the job opening was already closed. So maybe the company already got like 1,000 applicants and they already closed the opening, but maybe the website where you found the job wasn't updated, or it wasn't updated with the information that this role is no longer opening. Maybe the company didn't update it, or just for some reasons you applied when the job opening was already closed. And then this is where you get all those automated rejections like sorry, we have already found a candidate that we feel meets our vision more, and then they give a rejection email. At that point you may feel like, oh, I wasn't good enough, I wasn't as good as this other candidate. But it's possible that you actually applied late, so they didn't even get to see your resume, see your cover letter, and then you just got that automated rejection email. The fourth reason is that maybe you actually applied while the job was still open, but the recruiters have already made their selection on the people who they are going to interview from the number of applicants. If 1,000 people apply to a job, not all the 1,000 people would be interviewed. There would be like a selection, maybe 5 selections or 10 selections that we're going to interview, and hopefully one person is going to be employed from this 10 or 5 people. It's possible that you do not make it to that selection. Now, this selection, of course, it's based on different factors, so you cannot necessarily say, oh, I'm not good enough, that's why I didn't make it to those 10 people. Because imagine a selection of 10 people from like 1,000 applicants. You know, people are applying from all over the world, right? From different places. So imagine that. So the fact that you didn't make it to those 10 people is not like you weren't good enough, or maybe you weren't as good as those 10 people, but there were probably other people that you were better than, but because they could only take in 10 people to interview, and that's why you got a rejection email. And the fifth reason why you may get a rejection email, and this one is specifically for when you have already gotten into the interviews stage, somebody already started the interview process before you, and probably that person already got to the last stage, he or she already got an offer, they already accepted the offer, and then you had to get the rejection email when you were just in maybe stage 2 or stage 3. This is from personal experience. I was interviewing for this particular job and I was actually doing well. I was doing great. I left a very good impression towards the interviewers. They loved my presentation and everything and how I answered their question. But because somebody else had already started the interviews before me, the person got to the end. They also liked this person. The person received their offer and then I had to be rejected. I think I just had like one more interview to go, but then I had to be rejected because they already got who they were looking for, and even if I was good, somebody started before me. I have a separate video where I talk more about the story. I would leave a link to it in the video description if you want to check it out. But anyways, these are 5 non-skill related reasons why you may be getting rejection emails. As you may have seen from these points I mentioned, it's probably not about how good you are. Yes, sometimes it could be how good you are, like in the number 4 where I talked about selection process. That could be a little about how good you are, but you can see sometimes it's just things beyond your control. Like when you look at the whole sponsorship, not being able to employ everywhere due to maybe different country restrictions and policies, or when you look at the fact that you may have applied when the job opening was already closed. When you just look at all these things, you just see that yeah, it's not always about your skill. There are factors beyond your control. So I'm not making this video for you to just, feel like, oh yeah, it's not about my skill. Yes, rejection emails are usually an indicator that, you should do better, you should put in more effort, you should be hardworking, you should build more projects that can show how experienced you are. It's an indicator for you to improve yourself generally, or at least for the role you're applying for. But I just want you to understand that sometimes you shouldn't beat up yourself. There are probably other reasons that aren't related to your skill. So I just want you to know that. That's the purpose of this video. I want you to know that, and hopefully you're able to be a little soft on yourself and just grow at your own pace until you land that dream job. If you enjoyed this video, please share with others. Also like it. If you'd love to see more videos like this, please subscribe. Peace.